I'm in the game still rapping at a high capacity. If Nas wants to smoke, come in the booth. I will rap
He don't want
circles
no
around
smoke. He enjoying that 150 million, 200 million he done made.
Okay then, so then leave me alone while I'm on the field.
You was effing with him. He wasn't bothering you.
I don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them, some of them.
Jones was never better than Nas. Jim Jones will never be better than Nas. And this is coming from somebody that's not a Nas fan. I love Dipset. I love the Diplomats. I love Bird Gang. But we not about to start rewriting history because Jim Jones got confidence.
Jim Jones pulled up to Shannon Sharpe's podcast and dropped a bomb. Said he's not just relevant, but more influential than Nas. More important to the culture, period. And the second those words left his mouth, everything shifted. 50 Cent didn't respond with a diss track or even mention his name.
Did I ever got to see Nas? I never got to sit down and have a conversation with Nas and things like that. I had called you about it and things like that. That was like still one of the people that I never got to have a conversation throughout my history of rap and things like that. I think I would love to have a conversation with Nas. I wouldn't know if he knows it, but Nas was one of my all-time favorite rappers coming up and things like that.
I've heard you say that.
Since the barbecue and things like that. Like he really put the whole dope boy rap, crack hustler, get fresh rap into perspective before anybody.
Nah, he hit Instagram with an old federal transcript. Just posted it with no caption and let the streets do the talking. Now fans are in detective mode, digging up wiretaps, reposting old interviews, and trying to connect dots. Meanwhile, Jim's in the gym yelling into the camera, throwing bars like he's getting ready for a prison yard battle. But don't get it twisted. This ain't just about Nas, and it's way bigger than clout. This move feels like 50 flexing, letting everyone know he's still the one people can't touch.
Recently saw a clip on the Instagram where a young kid was comparing you to Nas and saying that you got
that's my young boy
big hits.
He's wild.
He looked to you. He learned how to wear the BB Simon belt from you. He got his swag. Like, how crazy is that? Because in my era, you know what I'm saying, Nas is like a god.
In my era.
And he's low-key reminding folks why some artists mysteriously avoided federal heat while others got burned. Jim might have just opened a door he can't close. Now, the Nas mention, that hit extra hard for a reason. This ain't some new school versus old school beef. That tension between Nas and Jim goes way back. We're talking 2002, Hot 97. Nas got on the mic and randomly flamed Cam'ron's album, straight up called it trash, with no real reason. That one moment set everything off. Dipset went into battle mode and Jim,
Nas. But remember, Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade. Yes. So Nas was my idol when I was young. Like you did, came to dressing, the wordplay, the music, everything. I was a superior Nas fan. Period. I'd never take that away from him. But then as I got in the game, you got to realize that your rivals would be idols, and not to take anything away from that. I developed my own style and my own lane that these kids start to gravitate towards the same way I gravitated towards Nas when I was younger and things like that. It's a whole different generation.
He was the first one charging. From that point, it was chaos. Nas and Dipset tossing shots on mixtapes, interviews, everywhere. But Jim took it real personal. He was out here talking about smacking the kufi off Nas, and he kept that heat going in his tracks. We Fly High wasn't just a hit, it was a warning shot. But hold up, it gets even deeper from here. Just a year ago, Jim Jones was showing love to Nas, nothing but respect.
Into light and started going crazy that these kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them, some of them though. But
you know what I mean?
A lot of them though.
He wasn't throwing shots, no slick comments, just straight up admiration. But that love, it turned into shade real quick. Everything flipped the moment Jim hit up Fat Joe and Jadakiss's podcast. And Fat Joe, being Fat Joe, couldn't help but stir the pot. He set the stage, and Jim, he ran with it. That could have easily been left as just another wild podcast moment, but nah, Jim wasn't done. He leaned all the way in, like he'd been waiting to get this off his chest.
Me, Jim Jones. No diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Check my track record. Then check everybody else's track record. Then go to the billboards and check all my entries. Then check all them entries and and I'm not taking nothing away from nobody. But I hear the comparisons and then be trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this shit. Talking about the industry, I've been putting on.
Then boom, out of nowhere, Jim dropped one of the boldest, wildest takes hip-hop's heard in a minute. He didn't just say he was relevant, he went all in, saying he's more influential than Nas.
Can I ask you a question, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
You smoke, right?
Yeah.
Were you smoking when you said you better than Nas?
I might have been a little shorter than Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when we talk about the sales and all this type of. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
Well, you said that
but
bullshit.
listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Mm-hmm. Nas was dope. We appreciated him. He had a little bit.
We're talking about Nas from Queensbridge, the Illmatic legend, the man behind God's Son, King's Disease, and still packing out Madison Square Garden like it's nothing in his 50s. But Jim, he didn't blink. He said what he said and doubled down with zero hesitation. That interview didn't just stir the pot, it flipped the whole pot over, set it on fire, and walked away like it was nothing.
He always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people. Like,
Ain't no shame in that. There a lot of more folks came up second to Tom Brady.
He never had that type of influence on us, except for his first album. I already told you, I used to want to dress like Nas because he had a lot of fresh clothes that the hustlers used to wear, and we used to see him on TV. He had one of the illest albums of all time. And then in high school when he had the barbecue and shit like that. So I'm a real fan of Nas, but he kind of lost me after the movie Belly and shit.
You've been in this thing, but lyrically, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you.
Yeah, but look how you dress. Look how you dress. You don't even be in the same places I be in. And the things that we listen to.
I can be in the church house. You can't ever Nas lyrics. I don't know who told you that. Now look, I know you on that good stuff, but you're not seeing Nas.
And just when it started cooling off, Jim popped back up, this time on Shannon Sharpe's nightcap with Chad Ocho Cinco Johnson. You think he'd walk it back, right? Nope. Jim slid in cool and confident, ready to triple down. He came on to clarify his comments, but ended up throwing more gas on the flames. Shannon wasn't playing either. He opened the convo straight up, no filter. But what Jim said next, it had fans literally pausing the video to make sure they heard right. And just when everyone thought the hot takes were over, Jim dropped another one. Jim started digging deep into that old Dipset versus Nas drama from the early 2000s, trying to flip the script like he was always the biggest Nas fan out there. But then he hit the crowd with a curveball, saying he's had more impact than Nas ever did. Bold, right? He tried to soften it by throwing Nas some compliments. Called him one of the flyest ever, gave props to his fashion game.
Bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I said I'm better than Nas.
It don't matter.
Look at you. Look at you.
Nobody from Dipset gonna take you over Nas. Nobody from the Diplomats but you.
Hold on, Jim. Hold on.
That shirt too tight.
Hold on.
Jimmy. You want to go back to I Really Mean It? I Really Mean It started. We could go back to the history, bro.
But you didn't even say that, bro.
But every time he said something nice, he circled right back to the same flex. He thinks he passed Nas in influence. By now, Ocho Cinco was just posted up in the corner, watching Jim and Shannon go back and forth like he was courtside at a boxing match. Then things got spicy. Jim came at Shannon sideways, saying he was only invited on the show for views. That's when Shannon snapped. UNC hit back like, "This the biggest podcast you've ever been on?" And he wasn't lying. But Shannon didn't stop there. He flipped from host to opponent in a heartbeat. Jim came on to talk music, but Shannon was ready to drag him to the gym and settle it there. When Jim told Shannon he's better than Nas, Shannon didn't just laugh. He questioned his bars and his biceps. And instead of clapping back at 50 Cent directly, Jim tried to switch the subject completely. He pivoted into some gym challenge, trying to flex on Shannon with push-ups and pull-ups instead of lyrics. Like a workout war was gonna prove he's still top dog in the culture. But while Jim was caught up doing reps and throwing shade in protein shake form, 50 was already moving in silence. That one mysterious label situation was still lingering in the background and people hadn't forgotten. Meanwhile, fans were losing it in the comments. The internet lit up with takes. Everybody was shook that a retired NFL Hall of Famer was now defending Nas harder than half the rap game.
I'm playing at a high level. You better check my record, I'm still playing at a high level. I'm rapping at a high level. You better check my stats, bro. I will run circles around Nas rapping right. I will run circles around Nas rapping right now. Right now, I will run Saturn around Nas right now.
One fan wrote, "Shannon did what Fat Joe and Jada should have done. Jones, you delusional. Shannon, thank you for calling it out. And let's be real. Where were they when Jim started talking wild? All while 50 Cent sat in the shadows, watching this circus spiral out. And he wasn't laughing, he was waiting. But just when folks thought this whole thing was peaking in comedy, it turned petty. That's when fans started digging up another clip, the one that hurt the most. Because back then, Nas didn't even respond to Jim, and that silence, that was the ultimate disrespect. Jim got clowned back then, laughed right off the stage, and now in 2025, that same energy is making a comeback like it never left. But the story didn't stop there. Because while Nas kept it quiet and Shannon was flexing muscles on air, someone else was silently watching the chaos unfold. 50 Cent.
This is the biggest podcast you ever been on. Do you know what podcast you been on bigger than this one?
Hold on. We off topic. Hold on.
No.
This is what I do. You see
Name a podcast you been on bigger than this one. When you get big, you get invited to Club Shay Shay.
This is what I do.
Nas get invited to Club Shay Shay.
The second 50 caught wind of Jim claiming he was better than Nas. He didn't rant, didn't post a video, didn't even look pressed, he just laughed. Then boom. He cracked open his bottomless vault of internet pettiness and pulled out one of the messiest rumors in hip-hop history. He didn't name names, but the moment 50 hit IG and referred to Jim as Individual One, the streets lost it. That one little caption had the timeline in a chokehold. And if you know, that's not just a random nickname. That label came straight out of the infamous 2018 Tekashi 69999 wiretap from the 9 Trey Bloods case. Back during Tekashi's trial, prosecutors played a tapped phone call, allegedly featuring Jim Jones. He wasn't mentioned by name, but they tagged the voice as Individual One. In that clip, someone was supposedly giving orders to handle Tekashi for switching up on the set. Jim's voice was never officially confirmed in court, and he was never charged. But let's be real, the streets never forgot. The blogs never dropped it. And 50, he definitely didn't let it go. So now, with Jim puffing his chest out on every podcast, trying to bait Nas into a battle.
Start buying baggy your clothes, big fella. You too big, man.
You talk about you in the gym. Now you want me to see me in the gym?
Oh, we can do
Since
that.
you like to talk that ish, now come see me in the gym.
We talking about working out? What we talking about? Working out or strength? What are you talking about? Working out or strength?
Work however you want to do it.
We talking about
since you got money.
If we talking about
put your money where your mouth is.
So you talking about working out? I burn you. You talking about working out? I burn you. You talking about working out or strength? Because you probably can lift a lot more than me.
Whatever.
You're bigger than me. You're probably stronger than me.
Whatever.
But if you talk about working out, I burn you.
This ain't what you do. This ain't what you want. You are doing good when you talk about Nas and Jada. You don't want to see this.
50 saw the perfect moment to slide in with a reminder. He went deep into his IG vault and reposted that same meme he once deleted in a hurry. The one that had everyone whispering back then. The one that read, "So that's why they ain't pull him in." That one post said everything without saying too much. Say it ain't so, Jimmy. Let's rewind to 2019 when the Shade Room dropped a spicy update straight from Tekashi's court case. A verified courtroom reporter claimed Tekashi actually named Jim Jones as a 9 Trey member, and you already know 50 Cent couldn't hold back. He slid into the comments like clockwork. Then came that infamous clip. 50 looking fake shook, trolling hard, pretending to be terrified. He literally posted, "I'm afraid for my life. I mean, Jimmy is gang gang." The internet was dying laughing, but Jim, you could tell he was tight. But here's where the whole situation really flips. This ain't some new beef. 50 didn't jump in cause of Nas. He and Jim been had friction for years. Jim gave him the perfect opening when he took shots at Nas, and 50 ran with it, dragging Jimmy right back into the fire.
Honestly, I can't, if it was like Jim Jones, imagine putting a pen to paper to write about him. He was so nice. He was so nice about him. How did you do that? What's the first sentence? What the fuck do you write about him? I'm not anxious to hear the Jim Jones diss record. I'm like, yo. The used to have so nervous was like B.I.G., Pac. Right. Even Cannabis, like Eminem, used to have you like, if we go at it, dog, we gotta go hard. You know what I'm saying? But these Jim Jones, I respect you getting your money. You're like, exactly, right?
Flashback to 2007. When Dipset was already shaky, 50 made a bold move. He brought Jim Jones and Juelz Santana on stage during a G-Unit show, while Dipset was falling apart behind closed doors. Cameron saw that as a straight-up disrespect play. Like, why pull Jim and Juelz into the spotlight when the crew was barely holding it together? Fast forward to 2019, during the Tekashi 6991 federal trial. That's when Jim got labeled as Individual 1 on a wiretap. Yeah, that same nickname 50 keeps dragging up. Prosecutors played the phone call in court. Even though Jim was never charged, that label stuck. And the internet ran wild with rumors about snitching, street politics, and who really got protected.
Hiding out in Texas. Please, whatever you do, don't tell them I'm in San Antonio. Don't tell them I'm staying at the Four Seasons. Don't tell them, please, don't tell them, man, because it's just so much pressure on me right now. I don't know what to do.
Jim definitely saw all of 50's slick posts, every single one. And at first, he didn't say a word. He played it cool, posted a throwback Bird Gang pic dripping in Dipset nostalgia. But the caption, straight from the heart. Why you keep lying? Now that right there, that wasn't just a clapback, it was personal. LOL. Jim clapped back hard, posting, I'm going back to sleep. Free Mel Matrix till it's reversed. That shout out was for his longtime friend doing over 11 years on racketeering charges. But make no mistake, it was also a shot at 50. Jim was basically calling out 50 for living in a fantasy world, building a fake storyline for clout. And Jim wasn't done flexing. He dropped another post from the gym, all sweaty and hyped, throwing shade while pumping iron. The caption, somebody tell Shannon Sharpe don't start ducking this challenge now. Gonna talk like a podcaster or gonna walk what you talk, cause my sneakers tied. He doubled down on that live challenge Shannon threw at him, like, you started this in front of the world, now finish it. He even pulled Ocho Cinco into the mix, saying Ocho didn't want the smoke in public and preferred they handle it in private. I know Shannon's rep as an athlete on the line, Jim wrote, but as long as you the witness, we don't duck no challenges. Size don't matter where I'm from. Run it. So while 50 was still trolling from the shadows, Jim was acting like he was ready to step into the ring or the booth. He came off like he was in full-on war mode, training for a showdown and hyping the crowd at the same time. Then he threw one more grenade online. If you 40 and up arguing with me about Nas, you already lost.
Yeah, Jimmy boy, you should have never brought this up. Y'all are only 3 years apart, and Nas is just like murdering you. You asked us to look up the stats, and here they are. Like Jim Jones, like you got a couple songs. I mean, like literally it's a couple. But we're talking about Nas. Let me show y'all Nas's last projects. Nas been getting it in since 2018. Jimmy, when the last time you put out an album? Oh, would you look at that? You have been dropping music. You've really been dropping music. But nobody's heard it. Nobody's listening, bro.
He told his followers, y'all fell for the bait. Every time Mel goes viral, my streams go up. I'm out here teaching you older artists how to move in this new game. Y'all stuck in the past and mad that things changed. Tighten up. And his closing caption sealed the deal. I said what I said. P.S. I'll wrap circles around any artist from my era. Whoever dare step in the booth, bring a bag, cause this game ain't free. Now that's a mic drop. We really outside, no cap. Take that however you want, but one thing's for sure. Moves are being made every single day. And through all the noise, one man's been silent the whole time. Nas. While Jim's been throwing shots, baiting every podcast, talking about how he's more influential, Nas hasn't said a word. But here's what's wild. If Nas does decide to respond, it won't just be a diss track. It could be a full-blown lyrical execution. The way fans are already dragging Jim in the comments, it's clear. People are not buying the hype. Right now, Jim's still talking slick. Nas is still ghost. And 50, he's lurking in the shadows, quiet as ever. Too quiet. And everybody knows, when 50 gets real silent, that's when the real drama hits. And now, the internet's buzzing with one big question. If there is another wiretap, one that never saw the light of day, did Jim just talk himself into something way bigger than a rap beef? While he's out here rapping, flexing, and calling out athletes, 50 might be sitting on something nuclear. So what's next? Will Nas finally step in and settle this with one legendary verse? Or will 50 drop a truth bomb when it's way too late for Jim to backpedal? You already know. We're watching this unfold in real time. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to catch up on the drama. And trust us, this story's far from over. See you on the next one.